Hey guys, I just want to say that if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. I'm a small content creator and could really use your support. I live stream 100% of the gameplay for games that I review, and I'm also always trying to keep up with the big named movies that are being released. If you would like to support the channel monetarily, you can do so through PayPal, or even better yet, you can get yourself some merch from my Teespring store. If you want to get better connected, you can do so through the social links in the description below, and please do consider joining the Discord. If you do, you can voice chat with me through my headphones while I live stream, and you won't be recorded on YouTube or Twitch. That's all I've got, guys. I hope that you really enjoy the video. Hello everyone, and welcome. Have you, like me, been more than a little bit disappointed with the original content that Netflix has been releasing ever since it lost the rights to the Marvel series it was doing? Well, I have a little pick-me-up for you today. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and today we are doing the After Action review for Arcane, the series based off of the hit video game League of Legends by Riot Games. So, as always guys, I've got my notes to keep me on track here, and we're going to jump right into it with the production of the series. Arcane has a very interesting production situation, I guess you would say. So it has two production companies, the first of which is Riot Games, which made League of Legends, the video game from 2009, which is now, at least last time I checked, the most played video game in the world, or at least the most played online game in the world. And also, so this is a foreign production company, and I think it's French, so forgive me here if I mess this up, but it's Fortiche Productions. They made a movie, and so they're known for making a movie in 2015 that was actually a TV movie documentary called Les Derniers Gallows, and also they made the series Rabbids Invasion. And I normally don't put up a graphic for what the individual movies for each of the production companies, but I'm going to put a graphic up here so you guys can see that these are the only two things. So Riot Games has never made a movie or a series or anything, and Fortiche Productions has only worked on these two things. The Le Dernier Gallows in 2015, the movie documentary, and then this. This is Rabbids Invasion. So that's a series that went from 2013 to 2019. So this was written by Christian Link. I don't know why I read it Christian Link, who is a brand new writer, has never written anything else, and Alex Yee, who is also a brand new writer, has never written anything else. The series was directed by Pascal Charroux, who was the director for Les Derniers Gallows, or Galou. I don't know how you say that, but if I mess that up, it's French. I'm sorry. Which was the TV documentary from 2015. That's the only thing he's ever directed as far as a movie. I think that so I looked up IMDb, it's like some shorts and like a music video, but that's it. And then Arnaud Delord, who is, known from the Rocket and Groot TV miniseries, and that is the production team that made this thing. All brand new at what they're doing, except for, actually, Fortiche Productions is like the most senior group of people, and they've made nothing. Like, nothing big, only two things. And that's quite interesting, and hopefully you'll appreciate that as we go through the review and I start to talk about some of the things. Okay, so moving into the plot. As always, the IMDb plot summary. The delicate balance between the rich city of Piltover and the seedy underbelly of Zon. Tensions between these city-states boil over with the creation of Hextech, a way for any person to control magical energy in Piltover, and in Zon, a new drug called Shimmer transforms humans into monsters. The rivalry between the cities splits families and friends as Arcane brings life to the relationships that shape some of League of Legends' famous champions, including Vi, Jinx, Caitlyn, Jace, and Victor. Contrary to most of the IMDb plot summaries, I actually am going to say that is a pretty good description of exactly what goes on in this show. I just want to add, though, that it mainly focuses on the development and rivalry between Vi and Jinx as the rivalry between Piltover and Zon intensifies. Okay? So we have the acting and characters. Haley Steinfeld plays Vi, or voice. So this is animated, obviously, but voices Vi. She is known from the 2010 movie True Grit and the Hawkeye series, which is actually being in the midst of being released right now. The first 2 episodes were released earlier this month. Vi is kind of the troubled, tough, protective kind of character, and that is that. Actually, I would say that is like her big. While I do think that the character is done well and everything, those are her big traits, and that's mostly what you see of her is troubled, tough, protective, and protective of her sister Powder, who then a slight spoiler, I guess. I think that everybody would know immediately, but Powder, who becomes Jinx. Okay, so she's protective of her sister there, and that's interesting to see her interactions with the world around her and how she kind of her beliefs and values and stuff as the series goes on with that. So I really did enjoy her character, and the voice acting was done very well. Then you have Mia Sinclair Jenis, who plays Powder. Now, Mia Sinclair Jenis is known from the Fancy Nancy series, which has gone on from 2018 to present day, and 10 Things We Should Do Before We Break Up, which was a movie that came out in 2020. You see Powder is the younger version of Jinx, and she is... you see her as kind of timid and helpless in this group, comprised of herself, Vi, and some other childhood friends they have, and she wants to prove herself to her friends, and to do this she kind of does some tinkering. She tries to develop these trap devices, and they never really work, and there's an interesting dynamic between, like I kind of alluded to, with Vi being very protective of Powder, and Powder trying to prove her worth to Vi and their friends. And while we're talking about these characters, before I move on here, I just want to say, this show was released, it has 9 episodes, and it was released on Netflix in series of 3, so 3 episodes 1 week, 3 episodes the next week, 3 episodes the next week. And the first 3 episodes focus on Vi and Powder as children, and then moving forward with the series, you see them as adults. So you do get that kind of character development there, which was, it's very interesting to see. So moving forward. Moving forward, we have Ella Purnell, who plays Jinx, which is Powder as an adult. Ella Purnell is known from Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children in 2016, and Army of the Dead, which was released earlier this year, and I did a review of, so you should definitely check that out. So Jinx is very different from Powder when compared to each other. She is confident, but she's also unpredictable and actually totally crazy, which definitely is the way that she's depicted in the video game as well. So that's pretty cool to see. She hears. So when I say crazy, it's not that she is a crazy personality. She actually hears the voices of some dead friends that she has, and that is quite interesting with her character. You see her, like, people that she's known that have died, they come back and they talk to her, and it makes her go a little bit crazy. She's also an accomplished tinkerer. So as a child, she was trying to make these traps all the time, and they never really worked. And then as an adult, she's kind of mastered the craft of not really inventing, but taking and changing other pieces of technology to make, large explosives, things like that. She uses these traps and things like that in her criminal activities, which we will kind of talk about a little bit moving forward. Because the big thing with Vi and Jinx is that they're both criminal children and then into adulthood from Zahn, which is the twin city of Piltover. So, then we have Kevin Alejandro, who plays Jace. Kevin Alejandro is known from the Arrow series, and he was in it from 2013 to 2014. He's also in the Lucifer series from 2016 to present day. You see Jace as kind of a brilliant and visionary scientist and the inventor of Hextech. You see him develop as well. So all of the characters do a really good job of developing over multiple years in the show, which I think was a really good idea for the show writers, and they did a pretty good job at that, having the show span multiple years, and then also the way that they released it as being groups of 3, and then you kind of get like different time frames for when the show is taking place. Great idea. So he's a brilliant visionary scientist. He invents Hextech. He kind of starts off the series as a naive young man and matures into a capable man who, because of his invention of Hextech, gets kind of a leadership position. And then with the rivalry going on between Piltover and Zahn, he kind of you can see that he really feels the weight of that leadership role that he has and making decisions and what is the right thing to do, and what kind of person do I need to be to do the right thing. So that is pretty cool to see. Then we have Harry Lloyd playing Victor, or voice acting for Victor. Harry Lloyd is known from The Theory of Everything in 2014 and the Brave New World series from 2000. So Victor is a crippled man with a brilliant mind. If you are a fan of the video game, you will know. So seeing Victor here, you will notice that he is much different than he is from the video game series. This is obviously the video game series. From the video game, here in the series, he is. It's kind of showing him before the timeline of when you're playing the game. So you see, and it's the same way with all of the characters, but you kind of see what he was before he was the character that he is in the game. I don't want to spoil too much for people, because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll just say that. So it's cool to see what he was before he became the Victor that you know from the video game League of Legends. So he's a crippled man with a brilliant mind. You see him walk with a cane. He also has some other health defects, as you learn throughout the show. He is Jace's partner in science. Kind of early on, Jace kind of suffers a defeat or a failure in his scientific research, and Victor kind of comes in and partners with him and tries to help him. As the series goes on, he kind of begins to lose himself, and you see that he begins to lose himself as he tries to find a cure for the disease that has crippled him and is affecting his health. And it's going to be interesting to see moving forward with the series how that goes as well. So I'm very. The pattern as I've been going through the review is just all of the acting, all of the voice acting is done really well, and all of the character development is done really well as well. So I'm really liking it so far as just the character drama. We'll get into the other stuff as well, but just the character drama in itself, really good. Okay, so then you have Katie Lewing. I apologize if I pronounce that wrong. I have a weird last name as well, so please do forgive me though. And she plays Caitlin, and she is known. Katie Lewing is known for Katie Lang, maybe. Please forgive me. She is known from the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. She's in most of the Harry Potter movies. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was in 2007, and she was also in the Anika series in 2021. Caitlin is portrayed here as a rich girl trying to make her own way. Basically, her family is very rich. Her father, I believe, is a doctor, a successful doctor, and her mother is... Yeah, her father was a doctor. It doesn't matter. Her mother, though, is very prominent. Her father's not prominent in the series, but her mother is prominent in the series and is a counselor for Piltover, because Piltover is basically ruled by a council with, I want to say, multiple seats, but I think it's like 5, 6. It doesn't matter. There's a council. It rules Piltover. Her mother is one of those, making her very rich and very powerful. But Caitlin is trying to go her own way and make her own life for herself, not relying on her family name, by entering into the police force of Piltover. So that's kind of cool to see that. She's very capable, but she's quite timid. So she's very capable as far as the skills of being a police officer with shooting and athleticism, but she also is kind of not ready for the streets necessarily, or, well, I wouldn't even say that. It's just that she's not used to seeing the kind of dark underbelly of the streets, and so seeing her go into Zon is quite an interesting thing. There's even kind of a fish out of water sequence, or a couple of sequences like that with her going into Zon for the first time. She partners up with Vi later on in the series, so you see their relationship develop as a partnership, and that is kind of cool to see. Okay, so moving on, we have Reed Shannon, who is a I want to say much newer actor. I want to say new actor, but he's been in a couple of things. He plays Echo, but he is known for Canal Street in 2018 and Blaze and the Monster Machines series from 2016 to present day. So Echo here, he is a childhood friend of Vi and Jinx, and without getting into any real spoilers, because his character has some things that I don't want to spoil, he's mostly a side character. And again, you're seeing him before he becomes who you know from League of Legends, so there are some things that are going to be missing from the character as far as from League of Legends to the series. I probably, that's coming. We'll see how that goes. But that's all I want to say about that guy, so I don't have to spoil anything. So then we have Mick Wingert. Or Wingert, not exactly sure how to pronounce that. He plays, or voice acts, Heimerdinger. And he is known from the What If series, released earlier in 2021. I also did a review of that, so check it out. He's Tony Stark's Iron Man in that. He's also most recently done Kung Fu Panda, The Paws of Destiny series, which is from 2018 into present day. They've even started filming for the 2022 release of that series, is my understanding. So, Heimerdinger is a Yoda-like character. I say that because he has a small stature. He has a small stature, he's hundreds of years old, very wise, and has an amazing scientific mind. He's also one of the leaders of the council for Piltover, and he has a position because of his role as kind of the head. He's the head of the academy in Piltover, which produces some of the greatest scientific minds in the world of League of Legends. So he kind of takes takes up that space, and so the character is developed in that way. He's a powerful member of the Council of Piltover, and he clashes with Jace and Victor. So his role in the series is that he clashes with Jace and Victor over safety concerns of their Hex Tech experiments. So basically, in the beginning, he says, "Oh, it's kind of dangerous," and has a little bit of anticipation about. He has a little bit of anticipation about allowing certain experiments to go on with this new Hex Tech technology, and then kind of as it moves forward, he sees that it's like, oh, this is kind of the future, but I'm not exactly sure. We need to be more testing, more safety measures, and that kind of creates conflict between Jace and Victor, as there's kind of that stifling feeling from them, and he has kind of a fear of what can happen with Hextech in the future. So, okay, so moving forward. So then we have Jason Spizak. who plays Silco. Now, Silco is the main protagonist here, main antagonist of the show. Jason Spizak is known from the Young Justice series, which went from 2010 to 2019, and then also DC Superhero Girls series from 2019 to the present day. So yeah, he is the main antagonist. He is a manipulative schemer. He is the leader of the underworld of Zon. So in Zon, the structure, Piltover is the governmental... basically, Piltover is the governmental power over Zon. The actual power in Zon is the Chem Barons, which produce different drugs throughout Zon. And Silco is kind of over those guys. He is... like I said, very manipulative. He's kind of put himself in the position of power through manipulation and some cloak and dagger type force, assassinations, things like that. He believes himself to be the protector of Zon and its people. He's basically, the situation here is, the series makes it a story between the haves and the have-nots. And Piltover is the have-nots, and Piltover is the haves, and Zon is the have-nots, and Silco is kind of this the leader of this have-nots group, and he says we want to take, we either want to take from Piltover, or we want to break free from Piltover and become the nation of Zon, and that way we can build our own future. So it's interesting to see because he is ridiculous, just very, very evil. But at the same time, you can kind of see how it's like you have these two different cities, completely different cultures, natures of how they're run, and you kind of have a little bit of agreement with the idea, like they should just be independent of each other. Overall, like I said, voice acting for these characters was done really well. The character development and the writing for the characters was done just extremely well. So not a whole lot to say overall as far as the characters, just that they were done very, very well. And I think that people who played the video games, the video games, because there's more than one. There's League of Legends and then Legends of Runeterra, which is the card game. I think that people who play these games are gonna look at these characters and kind of feel very, very happy about what Riot Games has done with this series. And it kind of it's cool because if you play the games, then you feel more of a connection with the character in the game. One thing that was a little bit disappointing, not even that big of a deal because it's done so well. The voice acting is done so well. It's not a big deal, what I'm about to say. But the voice acting for the characters in the series is not... They don't use the same voice actors for the people in for the characters in the game, but again, it's done really well. You hardly notice because the characters in the game don't talk a whole heck of a lot. So, okay, so moving on to the miscellaneous section, I want to say the soundtrack here is very good. One thing that's really cool about Riot Games, I've said this before about Blizzard. I've always thought that it would be so cool if Blizzard made its own movie. I know that they sold the rights to making a movie, and then World of Warcraft came out, and World of Warcraft wasn't exactly the best movie. But if Blizzard itself were to make a movie, that would be amazing. But here, Riot Games said, we're going to do this. And so if you watch any of the Riot Games, like trailers or character introduction stuff for the game, you can definitely see how those things came here into the series. And the soundtracks are always really good in those trailers and things that they have. So the soundtrack here was really good. That was really, really awesome. And the animation is top tier, which is totally to be expected. It has a really cool art style similar to the game. I don't have a whole lot bad to say about this series. I don't think that there's not really anything wrong with the series at all. The writing was absolutely great. The character development of Vi and Jinx is done well. For all the characters, done really well, but especially the two main characters here is Vi and Jinx. They're done really well, especially with Jinx becoming kind of slowly slipping into, I want to say senility, but it's not really senility, but kind of losing her mind a little bit from the grief and guilt that she feels for some of the things that have happened and friends that have died and that kind of thing. That's really all I have to say. There's not a whole lot to say because for the miscellaneous section, because normally the miscellaneous section is filled with kind of things to kind of criticize, but there's not a whole lot to criticize here. So that's a good place to move into my final final statement and review score. So, as I said, Netflix has been releasing some mediocre content, at least original content lately, and it's really great to see them releasing something that is just absolute top tier. So I'm gonna come right out and just say that I rate this as excellent. 2 thumbs way up. Now, there are going to be some things that certain people are going to look at and they go, oh, maybe they shouldn't have done that or emphasized that just a little bit. But, I mean, I'm talking like small little things if you really want to nitpick. But actually, I would say, yeah, like I said, this is excellent. There's absolutely nothing that I could see as far as the writing, character development, just the production value in general. Nothing that I would say needs to be changed. Nothing that I couldn't have written a story, if I really sat down and thought about the way that the story went, I couldn't, so it's hard to write a story in completeness anyway. But if you are able to kind of criticize, if you're a critic and you criticize people's writing or people's movies and video games, there's always some things that most of the time, there's almost always some things that you can look at and go, oh, they would have done this just a little bit differently. They could have made the video game better if they had this feature. They could have done it. They would have made a little bit more sense in the movie or the series if they had done it this way, or the character said this or did this. Here, I don't see that at all. There's almost nothing that I go, man, they should have changed that or that. Ooh, that was a mistake. Nothing at all. So I would say, yeah, excellent. This is a really fun time. 9 episodes, and honestly, I hope that Netflix keeps making content like this. One great thing, so with Netflix has kind of put itself into the position of being a little bit political as far as either swinging one way or another in some of its content, which I absolutely hate in entertainment unless the entertainment that we're talking about in itself is inherently political. Here, this is not inherently political at all as far as what the story is, and I'm really happy to see that Netflix did not put any politics into it unnaturally. So, yeah, excellent series. Can't wait for the second season, or honestly, the unlimited amount of offshoots that they could do with all of the characters, all of the places. This is one place. This is Piltover and Zon. We also have the nations of Noxus, which is introduced in this series through some side characters. We have Demacia, we have the Freljord, which is introduced through some of the stuff and kind of mentioned. We have Bilgewater. We have all of these different things, and this could lead to us having a massive amount of content being able to be created for movies and for series, and then also even video games. Like I'm playing the League of Legends, so it's a Ruined King League of Legends story video game right now. I'm live streaming that, and Riot Games is kind of trying to take over multiple industries here with video games, like online multiplayer video games, single player video games, and then also series and hopefully some movies. If they're this quality, I'll go to any movie, and I would highly recommend it. So that's my review, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, subscribe, leave me a comment, thumbs up. If you're interested, get yourself some merch from my Teespring store. My Spring store. It's not Teespring anymore. But that's, like I said, that's all I got, guys. I do want to thank you all for watching and just say God bless you all and have a good day.